Hello to everybody out there in our Montasy Comics extended universe.
Welcome.
I'm still Adam.
I'm still Jimmy.
And that is our videographer heading out the door, mortified at the job that we're doing starting off. So
Yep.
We're in a good shape right now.
Yeah, we're doing a little bit of a different take.
And what are we going to be talking about today, Jim?
Well, another thing that we have guys coming in, question that they often ask is, I'm buying this for somebody, what should I get?
Yes. You'll have a lot of products that make good gifts, but people aren't necessarily sure where to start. These collectibles, comics to a degree, but I think we're probably going to be focusing a little bit more on trading cards today.
Sure.
There are a lot of people who are really into the hobby, but we've done a lot of episodes exploring different ways of entering, and there are a lot of ways of saying, oh, maybe I'm interested in this, maybe I'm interested in that. But when someone else is already invested, or somebody else already has a sense of it, and you then need to get something for them, I think that can be a very intimidating experience.
Absolutely. I mean, it does work for comic too, but it's just, we'll take a look at a trading card, and oftentimes, I always tell people this is a complete foreign language, right? For Pokemon, we'll have people that come in and go, they want the cards that have this higher number, I don't know what it is, or they want a particular character, whether it's Raichu, Pikachu, Charizard, Charmander, etc., etc., etc.
It's probably Charizard.
Yeah, probably Charizard, yeah. It's sort of like you don't want to buy something for somebody that they may already have, right? It's like, so oftentimes it's like, what should I get? What is the latest? What is the hottest? What is the most popular? So how do we usually answer? I mean, how do you usually answer?
So the first thing that I usually make a distinction between is between single cards and sealed product.
Okay.
Sometimes you might have someone who, maybe they've made their list for Santa, or maybe they've put their entry into the office Secret Santa, or maybe it's not Christmas, so it's any other occasion. But they might say, okay, I want this one very specific thing. This is the name of it. This is a picture of it. Just go to the store and buy it. That makes it very easy for everyone.
That's really easy. Yeah, we have people come in with the phone and they go, do you have this one? And it's very simple for us to go, oh, that one? We do or we don't.
But if that's not the case, buying single cards, I think, can be a bit of a trap, because it's very easy to spend a lot of money on singles. But that's the sort of thing where not knowing specifically what someone collects, or not knowing if they play a game specifically what kinds of cards they play with, it's very easy to get something that maybe it's a good card, or maybe it's a valuable card, or maybe it's something that a lot of people want, but if it doesn't happen to fit into that person's collection or that person's deck, it could really be a waste, or maybe not a waste, obviously everything has value, but a disappointment.
Yeah, and as you can see, we have trading card games in Pokemon to sports cards. And I think a lot of times these are very transferable in terms of what we see and what we try to tell people.
Absolutely. I would say if you are buying a gift for someone, sealed products are your friend, even just if you're dealing in basic booster packs or the most fundamental units of cards. And the reason why that's your friend is that you're not responsible for what's inside. You're just responsible for giving people the chance at getting what they want.
True, and it also seems like you're unwrapping a gift when you're opening a pack. Right?
Absolutely.
Or either a pack, a box, etc., because you don't know what's in there. You could be pleasantly surprised, or you could be just, okay, this is good. But in general, a gift where you get to open, that itself is plenty of fun.
Absolutely. I think that the key to that is that even if you're looking at something that's small, or even if you're looking at, okay, maybe I'll get different packs, maybe I'll get different combinations of things, you're giving someone a chance at a lot of things, and that's often a lot better than committing to maybe one card that they may not even want. Just your chances of that are so much wider. A question that a lot of folks will give us when they're looking at packs or when they're looking at boxes, they'll often say, okay, but what's the best one? I want to get my friend, I want to get my relative the best product. And one of the good things about sealed products is that it might not be, it has the number one best card, because we probably won't even have the number one best card in our store, because that's probably something that is it's the best for a reason and is very hard to come by. But you could still have a product that gives someone the best chance at getting something, And if anything, that is part of the fun.
And you could go across different things, right? I mean, whether today you're talking about Yu-Gi-Oh, whether you're talking about Pokemon, whether you're talking about sports boxes, you're talking about Dragon Ball Super, it's really looking at what they are interested in. Now, like we talked about earlier, they'll say, hey, there's a list of what it is that somebody's interested in. But when you're buying a box, you're able to go, okay, based on this box, what are some of the decent or the popular cards, right? Because we talked about in previous episodes, there could be various sets that comes out of it. Then we're able to at least say, okay, out of this set, you could get, Dark Magician Girl, or for Yu-Gi-Oh, you could get Pikachu. You could get certain cards that either could be of value or it could be just popular. But then now, let me ask you a question. How do you now discern when somebody's talking about, should I get a pack, should I get a box? What kind of box? Should I get the booster box or should I get the Elite Trainer box?
I think that the number one deciding factor for that, and this is a question that I will ask everybody when they say I'm shopping for a gift, because I think it's going to be probably the most important deciding factor. What's your budget? I think if you go in knowing about how much you want to spend, there's going to be an ideal product in that price range. That you don't need to say, oh, well, the good product, the booster box costs $120, so I have to buy that. If your budget is, let's say, $50, maybe the Elite Trainer box, which is also going to have that same quality that we talked about, of being able to open cool stuff, is going to be more your speed. I will often point people toward, and this is entirely aesthetic, I will often point people, especially if it's a present, if it's a gift, towards something that has more boxy shape, because the more of a box it is, the better it looks when it's wrapped.
I never thought of it that way.
Yeah, I know that might be overthinking it, but also just when you look at something like an Elite Trainer box, I will often recommend this because I don't think that everybody wants to commit to spending over $100 on a box of 36 packs for something like Pokemon. They might want something that's a little bit more compact, but they also want something that's a little bit more special than just packs.
That's true.
And I think that a product like this is a good in-between point because it's going to include packs as part of it. It has a chance at getting fun cards, but it also has other supplies, materials. I call them knickknacks. That name has not caught on, but I'm going to stick with it.
He'll coin the phrase for that. Right?
Yes. Dice, sleeves, and while that is something that is going to be usually a little bit more relevant to people who are playing the game, there's still a lot of ways that people could have use for it. Even if you're not playing with your sleeves, you can still use them to protect your cards.
True. And what I would also add is this. Sometimes when people goes, oh, well, I want to get this, but what about different sets? Oftentimes, I will recommend saying, oh, well, you could always buy the Elite Trainer card box, and there's usually similar forms for other items, other sets, whether it's TCG or sports cards, and then you could buy a few packs across the board. So they get a sense of packs from different sets and a nice little gift that has multiple packs as well as other knickknacks.
It's catching on.
Exactly, already, right? And at the end of the day, what you'll also see is we'll ask the questions because it's important to know what is it that might interest the individual. So for example, when it comes to sports, some of the things that Panini recently come out is Kids Crate. It has a lot of little boxes of different sports products, and that allows people, as well as they also have the knickknacks, different things in there that people can buy for an affordable price and you can open and all that and so forth.
Now, Jimmy, for sports cards, as you're mentioning, I know that for that, compared even to something like Pokemon, something like Magic, where there are different types of products, the range for sports cards can be massive just between the types of sealed products you're going to get. You could have things that are a box of packs, like you might find for Pokemon. You might have something that's a single card in a box. How would you navigate something like that if someone's really into sports specifically, navigating those kinds of products?
Good question. I think what happens is sometimes when people come in, they'll say, I want to buy this particular box for somebody, or even for themselves, but a lot of times they say for somebody. I will often ask, number one, age, right? Get a sense of, what kind of cards or what kind of things that they may or may not be interested. It doesn't mean that the age represents a specific one, because the next thing that I would ask is, well, do they like to open a lot of packs, or do they just want to open one or two cards, right? So something such as this that has 24 packs, it's a lot of packs that they could open. They may have fun opening each pack. But then there may be also others who just sort of take a look at it from a standpoint of, I just want one card and I'm done. Well, didn't kind of work out as well. When I say when I'm done, this thing fell right over.
This thing was done.
But some folks may be interested in that because it's quick. It's fun from a standpoint of they're finished and they can move on to something else. There's also a slight medium, which for Inception has more than one card. It has about 4 to 5 cards, right? It's not exactly a lot more, but it's really looking at it from a standpoint of whether or not they want 1 or 2 cards or how long they want to enjoy the pack opening process. But at the same time though, they do also look at it from a standpoint of value, right? You could have 1 card, 1 pack, multiple packs, and all that and so forth. But it's really to see, what are some of the cards, the design that they could get out of it. So it's across different aspects that we're able to provide or suggest certain products by us asking the question in terms of what do they like? Do they like paper stock? Do they like all shiny, sort of metallic type looking cards? Do they like autographs? Do they like game use? Do they like specific players? Are they looking for particular rookies? That's where it'll determine how we're going to direct them to say certain boxes, or even just say, hey, you could buy an assortment of packs.
Absolutely. And I think what I was saying before about price range when it comes to something like Pokemon, Magic, also something to consider for sports. For sports, the ceiling can be very high for sealed products. So you might have, like I've had folks who come in, they're looking at just trying to get a sense of what the different offerings, they might be very surprised, okay, well this box you can get, and this box costs $100. This box costs $1,000. And maybe if they're buying for a kid, very often younger child, they might be asking specifically for the $1,000 box because they're very smart and they know what's fancy, and they have it's very easy to have expensive tastes when you're not the one paying for it. That doesn't mean that I'm not saying
some folks could be very considerate and just say, look, I don't need to have an expensive taste, I just need to enjoy.
I think a lot of that question when it comes down to enjoyability is really what it makes sense to focus on. You can break that down between, you might have one series or one brand of sports cards that still has different configurations. So maybe there is one type of box that is, the super premium version. Even if you, let's say, commit to, okay, I'm just going to get packs, you can still find a way to get that type of product that still fits within the budget that you want to set. I think that you have a lot of options there and a lot of choice there, as long as you consider that these different configurations, these different types of boxes really can run the full spectrum.
No, that makes sense. And I think when you look at it even from a TCG standpoint, right, it's also getting a sense of, okay, what is it that they're looking for? Because it also could be something like, they want to learn how to play.
Absolutely.
Right? So when they would want to learn how to play, then we may just move more towards a beginner's deck. Or when we talk about deck, I think it could be a pre-made type of constructed material. Constructed deck that they could play right away, that has instructions and all that and so forth. But oftentimes when people are looking at a particular thing when they're starting out, it's always pretty cool and pretty fun to just open a pack.
Absolutely. And I think that if there's one thing that connects all of these different things to keep in mind, it's that the core of this hobby, and I feel like I say this all the time, the core of this hobby is fun. I think that if you are concerned with, yes, there are people who are very concerned with getting particular cards, completing their collection, with maximizing their value. If a product is going to be fun to open, then it's going to be a good gift. I always say, in my opinion, the best gifts, not even necessarily relating to this, but just relating to any kind of gift, the best gift that I could get is something that I will enjoy, but that I wouldn't necessarily buy for myself. And
so meaning it's free?
Oh, absolutely. And I will add in that I have very expensive taste when it comes to gifts. So I think that the key to all of that, again, is understanding what someone's going to enjoy. It doesn't even necessarily have to be, what is the most shrewd purchase in terms of you're going to have this one card that is the most pricey thing, but what's going to be fun to open and what's going to give them, an experience that they're going to remember fondly.
Yeah, and I personally enjoy just opening and having fun. and just going, hey, I got this card. And it's really the experience of opening, more so than just saying, I got this one. Because if they want a particular thing, they'll let you know what that is. But when you are able to search through it when you're opening it, and especially you get some of the cards that you may not be aware of, and you'll find stuff that you actually like. You're like, oh wow, I didn't know that this was in here. And that's not only a surprise, it's something that you really enjoy.
Yeah, I mean, discovery can be the most exciting part.
Yep. And that's it for today's episode. See you again next time.
We will indeed.